All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Fruits Basket, Season 3, Episode 13. The series finale.
The series finale, y'all. This show has been going for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And I am so sad that it's going to be over soon.
But we still got the movie after.
We still have the movie afterwards, which we will be doing, y'all. So no worry. We're not out of Fruits Basket content
Just yet.
But let's have some happy cathartic epilogue style, you know, kind of touching base with the main characters and maybe, a little bit with everybody, but, primarily, Toru and
Kyo and
Yuki.
Yeah.
And then, now, there's some of the other couples and stuff.
Indeed.
Like, Machi's now with Yuki.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah?
In some ways, Akito and Shigure should be focused on as well. They're kind of main characters.
That's true.
Too. There's a bunch of other, sweet couples and stuff like that. If we're going to do any time skip shit, it needs to happen in this episode.
I
don't want to wait for a movie to see it.
Exactly.
I want to be here.
Now,
if the movie is some stuff about, a generation later or something like that,
that would be wonderful.
I'm cool.
Right.
I'm cool.
But
if it's all in the movie, that's fine.
Right.
But they should hint at it at the very least in here.
Exactly. I would love to get, and it's the same, you already talked about it in the previous episode, but I would love to get a really wonderful, heartfelt goodbye as Kyo and Toru move and go, and go somewhere else.
Yep, go on a trip.
And then, where are they now? Where we get to see them later. Maybe with kids.
Even if it's just a month later or 3 months later, that's totally cool. You don't have to have kids or anything like that.
But if it was a decade later with kids,
if it was 5 years or 10 years
oh my
later,
god. So, or even a wedding, maybe. Skip ahead to wedding. That would be cool.
But yes. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. There it is.
All right.
The show did it. Stuck the landing. Addressed some things that were kind of cool to have them be addressed. Showed us a little bit of a time skip. Where are they now? But it was a little bitch and decided to not show us actually what they look like.
Yeah, that...
Fine, but they showed us the kid. That's great.
Exactly.
The grandkid.
The kid grown up. And some photos
being something that goes way beyond.
Yep. So
immediate sense.
Awesome. Love
they
it.
grew old together. Loved each other the whole way through.
Yep.
The
rest is history.
Yeah. The creators answering all the potential questions of any kind of nonsense. No. And they lived happily ever after.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Fairy tale ending. The sweet moment with Yuki though was so wonderful. I feel like that's the kind of thing that was a final bit of closure for someone that had his story more recently deviate away from Toru.
Right.
Because he needed to focus so much on himself. But then having it come back to the point where he shows all of his gratitude for how much she saved him. She changed his life forever.
And what there are so many things that I love about that scene. One is that a lot of the times, if there's anything that even resembles a love triangle in a story, it can be very difficult to have a satisfying conclusion for the person who doesn't end up in the canon relationship, right? But no, that's not what Yuki was after. That's not how he saw Toru.
Yep, exactly.
But the thing is that he still does need a closure moment with Toru because they cared about each other immensely, right? So having that moment where he gets to tell her how he feels, and, and you called it out, as a love confession, because that's still kind of what it is, right?
Yeah.
That was beautiful. The details and the phrasing of how he said it, right? Showing the fact that it was her helping him still doing a lot of the work, but that he couldn't have done it without her.
He wouldn't have been able to stand there.
Exactly.
And here today.
And then to have him tell her, you were like a mother to me, right? To the person who cherished her mother so much. That is...
And in some ways, part of her character growth was moving on from her mother to know that throughout all that time where she was having the complex with her mother and dealing with it, she was still like a mother to someone that needed that far more than she could even imagine.
Maybe in a similar way to the, and this is something that I just thought of, so it might be a little shaky as far as the comparison, but that Yuki had to let go of Toru and move away from her,
Yes.
while at the same time accepting and acknowledging all of the wonderful things that she did in his life, and and how he's a better person as a result of her, and was able to help other people, like Machi, for instance, as a result of the influence that Toru had on his life. In a similar way, Toru was able to have a similar influence to what her mother had on her, to other people around her as a result of that connection that was had. It feels like
Toru maxed his social link, helped him face himself.
Exactly.
He accepted all parts of himself.
Yep.
He comes back to her and is like, "Thank you so much for starting me on this path."
Like it takes the takes the line that can be done kind of tropey in a kind of tropey way of they live on inside you, and it's like no. This is like an exact like example of that, right? Not just as a kind platitude, right? But in the like here
in some ways, your love, Toru, lives on inside of all of them.
Exactly.
They'll remember it forever, even though not all of them got exactly what they wanted out of this. They were all able to live with you in these key moments, and you left a mark on them that was really special. In a way, the reason why I really liked so much the Kyo little like moment when Akito was kind of looking up into the sky, that everyone loves you, basically, is that in that moment, Toru was kind of like Akito. All of them had their bonds to Toru and felt that connection.
Right.
Even though there was a breaking of the of the bond of convenience of being able to be close physically.
Bonds freely given. Like it's and
across all time, space, and everything.
Yep, and that's adds even more to the idea of them then being grandparents way later, and it's like, here you go, right? The showing
love is eternal.
Yeah, love is eternal, right?
Yeah.
And the way in which they talked about how Toru had this impact on everyone around them, and that like, yes, you know, even if you go away with Kyo and the dynamic that we had up until now will be no more. The show will be over. You know, they will absolutely be thinking fondly of you. They will absolutely visit you, and and all of those good things that come from those free bonds, right?
Yep.
So I love this. Yep. This was wonderful.
This is everything we could have wanted. It didn't give us anything really beyond the, I would say, par and maybe a bit above for the course in terms of endings for an emotional kind of romantic drama story. A lot of it, I would say, was also the classic, we're going to show the new outfits, designs, and hairstyles of characters to kind of represent a little bit of the ways in which their growth is not something that's just been had, but
it's continuing.
They might be starting also.
Right. Yes.
And that was evidenced by Akito's outfit, by Kisa's hairstyle.
Yep.
By
even Ritsu.
Sorry, did I say Kisa? I meant to say
Oh
Ritsu.
yeah.
But then also, seeing the ways in which Uo and Hana interacted with Toru at the zoo was, this is good comedy, but seeing that they're like, oh, right, we're going to have to begin a new kind of life with Toru in it because we're no longer the most important people in her life anymore. And that's a little bit of a convenience thing, so we'll have to find a new
dynamic.
Point,
things are changing.
Yeah.
It's kind of the positive angle of what Akito had to struggle to accept over the course of the story.
Oh, sure.
That yes, our bond with Toru will be weakened in a way.
Yes.
Because you're taking her away. Because that is what you're doing.
That's just how it works.
Right. Yeah. And Hana will be a little,
salty.
Salty about it, but at the same time it's the no. Take good care of her. She's we're leaving her in your care. And it's not some like don't you dare hurt her or whatever. No, none of that bullshit, right?
No, they really do like you, Kyo. And they've liked you for a while and they've known for a long while. They're just really happy kind of having that like audience kind of moment where they're being the ones that are like, we've been shipping you guys for a long time. We're just really glad you guys are finally making this happen.
Yep.
But it sucks because we have to have the show end, which means we don't get to see all this stuff happen. So we're trusting you.
Right.
You know.
I think my favorite bit of comedy from this episode was the idea of Shigure quitting writing and the editor being like,
the evil one has been vanquished.
Yeah, right. And Ritsu like congratulating her, and they're both like cheering and hugging and all that stuff.
God, I need to see that bit again.
That was so good.
That was inspired.
Oh man!
Like you can absolutely tell that this was something that the mangaka was like
having fun with.
Like this is gonna be like
yep
the best part here.
And there's a part of me that wonders if that also is maybe a joke based on the fact that like the manga's done, so I'm not going to be writing this anymore. And it's like, it's okay, editor. You know, I don't know if the mangaka was actually one that would put their editor through the ringer anywhere close to what Shigure did. But
I think it's just they would know. They've probably been in the industry enough that they know these kinds of things that would happen and stuff.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
So
that was just great. That was wonderful. I loved that. Rin brought up the question of what if I can't forgive Akito? Is that okay?
Not just for what she did to me or all of you, but what she did to Toru. I don't feel like I can do that. I try to, like, and it's still there.
Right.
And then the way in which she was like, so how to, like, you're not gonna hate me, are you? Because I can't. Am I wrong? Like, am I the one that's gonna be holding us back? Like the way,
that was, that was absolutely wonderful because...
Have I let you down? Will you always hate me for saying this stuff? No, you can never let me down. I'll never hate you.
He basically rickrolled her and was just like, never going to give you up, never going to let you down. Like, and then Hana and Kazuma just looking on and being like, yes, the children.
But I like the way in which them and their wisdom are like, hey, they've been left with some emotional turmoil. Basically saying, it's not gone. It's not they had emotional turmoil in the past. What happened in the past has left them in the present with emotional turmoil.
Right.
But some more than others. The idea that this is something that's very, very, very tricky, but also an awkward kind of thing to bring up, is that when stuff has happened to you, there's an element of where you probably are more okay with moving on from it than if a horrible thing happened to someone that you very, very much care about.
Sure. Yeah.
So I liked the fact that for Rin, she kind of brought it up also within the context of Toru, saying that it's not so easy to just be like, yeah, shit was done to me. And that really...
She holds herself near the scars from Akito pushing her off a balcony.
Right. That's its own thing. But in addition to the fact that she loves Toru so much, this is something where, obviously, Momiji, Haru, all them, everyone loves Toru.
Yeah.
But this is something where people have different responses to things.
Right.
And also, some people aren't going to be affected by something as much as you are. And you're not a bad person. This is such a good lesson to sneak in at the very last second here, that you're not a bad person for feeling strongly about something of like an injustice or something bad that's been done, not to you, but to someone else.
And, but even if it was against you, that would still be okay.
It'd still be okay.
Like it's because one of the things that can get really tough with a situation like this in a story where you want to have like a satisfying, definite completion and ending, and okay, the story's over, right?
Yeah.
When you're dealing with complicated topics like this, is that the ending and resolution of those situations are anything but clean, right? It is not something that happens all at once. That's great that Akito had a change of heart and is going down a new path. That does not mean the shit that Akito did is suddenly resolved and the hurt and the damage and everything that happened from that is gone. It's not.
Yeah.
And that is okay for them to be in the process of working on it, and it's okay if you never forgive Akito. That's totally fine, and that is a wonderful way for the show to be able to have its cake and eat it. Of having Akito have a very quick about face, like as far as like
relatively speaking, length,
right, exactly, and to not have it feel like it's or to phrase it in a positive, to have it feel like it's still being done in a very respectful way, given all the things that Akito did.
Yeah, because we're not actually focusing in this episode on the reparations of Akito.
Exactly.
It's the ways in which everybody here is starting new lives. Separate from Akito.
Right.
Akito didn't show up to the goodbye. Now, I will say, this is something that I'm a little bit miffed with, show, is I feel like there's like an episode or two that you could have done more of here. Because maybe I'm just like trying to find
We're greedy. We're like,
I want more.
We're after the pain stuff.
But we didn't actually see the goodbye.
Yeah.
That was talked about, and it was never shown.
Right. We got the goodbye between Yuki and Toru kind of in the confession scene, right? We got the sort of goodbye with Uo and Hana at the date and everything. That's good. But yeah,
the idea that they would have a goodbye, I'm guessing, Jacob, that's what the movie's going to be about.
That's a good point. Yeah, it might be something where that gets covered in the movie.
Yeah, given that we time skipped without even showing Toru leave the house here.
Right.
I think that they're basically saying, hey, the movie's good, the epilogue. We're going to have some sweet stuff in there.
Sure.
There'll be some laughs because it's going to be, the last feast of the Soma household and everybody all
New
together.
banquet and all that.
New banquet. Akito maybe doesn't have to be there for that, and that can be Akito's kind of statement of basically saying, hey, I should not be here for this one here.
I've taken up enough space in your lives up until now. I'm okay with,
giving some distance there.
Right.
But the idea that having basically so much of this episode being like touching upon all the characters, I really, really wish we would have had a Toru, Kyo, Yuki scene that would have been maybe a little bit of a like more of a goodbye.
Right. It's the thing where the flashbacks that we got in the episode, I think, served their purpose very nicely.
Yeah.
Right. Like they were very well used. They didn't overstay their welcome or anything like that. The music choice, excellent. Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, there is that part of me that's like, oh, but what if it was like new content to see more of the happy goodbye and sad goodbye and all of that?
Yeah. The closest thing we got to that really was the look of the family of the
grandchild and the child.
Yeah, exactly.
But
there was this little almost shrine to their whole family here. We have the 13 little animal things for that there. We have the beads of Kyo's necklace. We have what I'm guessing is their daughter who married someone who looks almost like Hattori, weirdly enough.
Yeah,
but then has basically Toru's spitting image.
But also Kyoko's spitting image.
Yes.
And that's something that I just thought was great.
That was very cute, yes. But I also loved these little like family shots here because you can very easily tell that we have one of them being younger and in the snow here.
Yep.
We have very much one of their baby photos here, but then we also very clearly seem to have some family photo here of them being adults.
Oh.
And there's 3 kids. So I think these are their 3 children, maybe.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I was thinking maybe that was like some kind of like reunion photo or something.
But the
with
thing
some
is,
of the others. But yeah, no, I think
the thing is, I don't think it
that's
fits
them with their kids.
for any of them there.
Right. Yeah.
But if anything, my question is, did they actually have 4 kids? Because I don't see the daughter.
Hey,
unless
maybe.
This is just not meant to be their daughter.
No, I think that's their daughter.
I think the hair is the way in which they kind of efficiently dole out.
It's something where, like, well, let's be real, we're greedy, And,
We're very
and,
greedy.
And it's like, okay, you have something with like some pictures where like not too much detail is shown. There's like the reflections off the glass and the nondescript faces and enhance.
It's
like,
giving me my FMAB, you know, like thing there. I'm like, I want to.
right, more. Yeah.
But yeah, she had also the little
The rat and the cat
rat
doll.
and the cat doll. Yeah, those are great.
Yep.
But yeah,
The
show's over.
show's over.
Next week though, movie. Next week though, movie. We have heard though that there is a considerable amount of recap in it.
Right.
So when we do the reaction to that, we will not be reacting to the recap. Just FYI in advance, so you guys know what's coming. But y'all, this means that we can now go and check out all Fruits Basket related content, comments, stuff like that. I'm really, really excited to get into the nitty gritty with this show because I'm like 100% gonna rewatch this within the next like 12 months or so.
Well,
like,
and
in its entirety.
Now that we've finished it, it just makes me think like, oh my god, I'm so glad that this ended up happening. Because, because with the original series where it's just like, oh, it just sort of did its own thing and didn't get very far and all that stuff. I'm like, holy shit, that would have been such a tragedy for the rest of this to not exist. Like,
so many people would never have found the manga.
Right. I know that we probably don't have any people watching this video that would, have actually been involved, but like, thank you so much to whoever like played a part in producing this for one, but also like getting it to be something that then started to happen. Like that.
Well, having a remake, basically.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just really, really, really special. And this was really good. I would love to also hear from people now about like ways in which this was something where it was a more faithful adaptation of the manga.
Sure.
But maybe like, are there things in the manga that are still like kind of left out?
Like weren't adapted. Yeah.
It definitely feels like this season had a lot like faster pace in general, but that's probably just because it was 13
half the episodes.
Yeah.
There was a sense that I got that maybe there was more stuff of a connection between Ritsu and I forget her name, but Shigeru's editor, because that felt like they had like a connection, but then there was talk of them getting married, but at the same time, like I didn't feel like we really saw much of Ritsu.
I think them were just tying a bunch of bows around everybody and giving everybody a happy ending.
You end up together. Yeah. Right.
Oh, speaking of like best couples, just having
Mine and
Ayame. Oh my god, they are just so freaking adorable. The way they are just like absolute like elegance, but like goblin elegance. They're just their energy is just like like absolute gremlin goblins for like fashion and all that.
Oh yeah.
And yet they're like, oh yes, it's so elegant. Yes, and we shall give them top ramen. And made outfits,
right? Of course. I mean, they're not
in the
monsters,
same care package. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's bare necessities. It's just what you need.
Yeah.
They were adorable. They are always adorable. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kagura saying they will be happy.
That's right.
I wish for them to be happy.
While she stares at the camera. It's like what's up.
She knows exactly what's up. Yeah. Hiro just being there to comfort Kisa because. So good. Hattori cracking jokes, being free to express himself a little bit more.
Exactly.
That was wonderful. It's so nice. I just have to say, we've said this many times before, but it's one of my favorite things about this show is that there's so many adults, and even though the adults sometimes act more like kids than the kids do.
Shigure, the comment about like him being the least mature now out of everybody in the family, that was great.
Yeah. But the idea that because the adults, we started out as adults, we didn't cover that much time in terms of calendar years. The idea that we get to see them growing, and yet they're adults, and yet they're also more mature before they've grown. It is something where it was something where when I saw the way that Yuki spoke to was it Manabe? Kakeru.
Oh yeah.
Kakeru Manabe. Yeah. I was like, wow, yeah, he really has grown. And then when he spoke to Todo, I was like, holy shit, yeah, he's grown.
Yep.
it feels
Our boy
really
became
good.
a man.
Yeah, our boy became a man, and our dumbass adults and stuff like that all found happiness.
Right.
Because I feel like that was the thing that tied most of the adults together. They all seemed to be living with a burden of pain and sadness that they couldn't share.
Right.
And it seems like all of them now have someone to share it with.
Well, because if you think about it, they went through, well, not quite exactly, but they're sort of the kids.
The old guard?
They're the old guard that didn't have the fruits basket story where, you know, the curse ends up being broken and all of that stuff.
They had to wait an extra decade, basically.
Right. Like it doesn't quite hold together, you know, it
know
breaks
what you
down
mean.
after a bit, but yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's it. I love the little Machi moment where he's like, I mean, you don't want me to.
Oh, okay.
you know,
I can get rid of it.
I can get rid of it. No. Right. Like, I kind of love the way they flirt because she trusts him so much that in some ways him playing on her neuroticism shows that he's like, no. This is all in love. Like there's
Right.
there's something
Like,
actually even more safe and
it's
healthy about it.
Exactly. Him offering her the key is the I accept your neuroticism. And she's like, but I don't really like the fact that I'm neurotic. So no, it's fine. I trust you. It's all good. Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, maybe not yet. You know.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, and you kind of do the head chop baka. You know?
Yeah.
I love that. Also, Baka Neko and Baka Nezumi. That was
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Because
some
damn
good
it,
shit.
you can have these dudes that are totally tsundere sometimes say baka to the people that they love because
Yep.
they do love each other and be like, you know, there you go, and that's the
Preach
end
it.
point, that's the resolution, that's the you know, yeah. So
And all right, yeah, y'all. Next week we will finish Fruits Basket
Yep.
and do the movie. But thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the movie's episode movie reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. So you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
we stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all
Next time.